Hey everyone, good morning. It's Rebecca Undum and you are watching Rebecca Undum Live, the weekly Facebook show where we tackle one small topic to help you live bigger in your small town. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As you come on, please say hello. You can maybe hear my George Michael in the background kind of, because here we go. You hear that? Yep, so we're jamming about freedom. I told you I was going to come on with music to start every live show this month with the month of freedom. I don't know if I'm going to find enough songs that have the word freedom in it, but we're on a roll, right? We're 2 for 2. Hey, good morning, Jesse. Good morning, Kelly. Okay, so you guys, last week we kind of touched on this topic of freedom and what the theme is kind of all about. And my goal then is for the next 4 weeks, because there's 5 Mondays in the month of July, we're going to talk about 5 different ways that we can free ourselves. And, you know, besides it being our country's freedom, we celebrate our Independence Day in the month of July. I personally value freedom. Freedom is actually one of my top 3 values. And so, again, that's not everybody's jam, and I totally get that. But I think the whole point is that sometimes we are actually prisoners of our own making. And so these ways that we're going to be freeing ourselves are all within our control, which is always a beautiful thing, right? All right, so in just a moment, we're going to get to that. Today, we're talking about how to free yourself from the should have or could have beens. So basically, this is for any of us that might be struggling or feeling regret or sadness over something that didn't go the way that we thought that it would. This could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be your entire life. Oh, and by the way, I noticed I'm not plugged into my volume might be a little better if I use my actual microphone. So I don't know if that made a difference, but I just noticed that I wasn't plugged in. So this could be anything that, you know, you had an idea in your mind of how you thought it should be, and then it didn't turn out that way. That can be a trap. It can be, absolutely can be a prison. So that's what we're going to talk about today. As you guys are coming on, again, I love to see kind of how you guys are feeling. I love emojis. So like, give me an emoji. How you feeling today? How's the summer treating you? We had a major storm roll through here last night. I don't know if you guys have had any bad weather. Thankfully, it wasn't as scary for most of us, like our community proper. We've had some people out of town. There's been some hail damage on crops and things like that. That's always a really difficult thing to deal with this time of the year. But I hope the rest of you are staying safe. Would love to see, like an emoji. How you feeling today? How's your weekend going? How did everything go? It's Monday, and we're together, which is always awesome. I have to tell you guys, so we took our kids to this really amazing outdoor water park in Aberdeen, South Dakota this weekend on Saturday. And I ran into a woman that that used to live here. She watched our youngest child when he was a baby, and then she's since moved to Aberdeen. And I'm just going to tell you guys, this is one of those things where sometimes you don't realize maybe the impact that you're having on people. And this isn't like a pat on my back. This is for you guys to think about. She stopped me, we were talking a little bit, and she just said, I want you to know I love Monday mornings. She said, I love hanging with you on Monday mornings. She goes, I always have to watch the replay. She said, but I love the work that you're doing, and it's making such a difference. And that was such a cool thing to hear, right? I think sometimes we forget that in simple, small ways, like you don't have to do what I do to make an enormous impact on people. Sometimes I think we just forget that we are all making an impact all the time. So let's see, Jesse said, harvest should be done today. That's fantastic. Cindy's got like a puzzled face, like a little puzzled emoji. She's not sure how she's feeling about today. Mindy, that looks a little bit like a meh. So I don't know if that's accurate, but I love emojis. Aren't they fun? Okay, so just wanted to tell you guys, like in every day, every interaction, you have an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. And so just do it. And sometimes you just have no idea what it is that it's going to mean to somebody. So, okay, let's talk about how to free ourselves from the should haves or could have beens. And I've touched on this before, but we're really going to get a little more into the nitty gritty of like, how do we actually do that? But first, living in the should haves or could haves, it really does 2 things to us. These are the bad things that we want to avoid. The first is that it tends to make us feel like something is inherently wrong with us because it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So it makes us stay stuck in this place of, it's a negative self-perception. We feel wrong. The second is that it keeps us trapped in the past. And that's why it's a prison, and that's why we need to free ourselves from it. Because anytime you feel trapped The question is, how do you get out, right? And usually there's an answer. Sometimes it's hard to see when you're right in it. Oh, poor Lori, she's sleepy today. That sometimes happens. You get to Monday and you're like, dang, I need a vacation from my vacation. I need another weekend to get over my weekend. Okay, so living with this could have or should have, that living in the past, that's a trap, and that's what we want to free ourselves from. So I have 4 ideas for you. I have to excuse my, like, if you hear some noise in the background, that's my children. I ask them to be as quiet as they can be. We got a baseball game, the last one of the year here in a little bit. So hopefully you won't hear any actually like weeping and gnashing of teeth, because I swear it's the summer and that's what's happening in my house. Okay, 4 tips. The first is, so again, this could be, we're talking about could haves or should have been. So these could be these things we would label as regrets, or just they're disappointments, life's disappointments. Like we had a plan and we went after this plan and it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So it could be a relationship, could be a job, it could be like, I didn't expect to ever move back to my small town. That's not a regret that I live with every day, but when I first got here, absolutely, I was like, this is not what was supposed to happen. This was not the life I was supposed to live. And then you get kind of stuck in this like feeling crappy about it. And then also, of course, that comes back to you feeling like you're somehow broken. So that's what we're talking about. The first thing, so we got Christy, good morning. Rhonda, good morning, guys. So good to see you. First thing to do is to allow yourself to grieve it. I think far too often, especially in this, like, and again, I don't know how you guys were raised, but we didn't entertain a lot of crappy feelings in my household growing up. And this isn't anybody's fault, right? This is partly just the way her parents, my mom's parents, were very straightforward, like, you know, put your big girl panties on and deal with it kind of a thing. So I was kind of raised to not entertain sad feelings like that. Like it didn't feel productive. Okay, now that I've grown a little bit and I've come to really understand the value of my feelings, first of all, they allow me to be empathetic towards other people, and I can't have that sensitivity without the feelings. Like, they're all there, right? So I've come to realize the value and the importance of really, truly feeling your way through things, allowing yourself some time. Grieving it is important because you have to honor the fact that things haven't gone the way you wanted them to go, and honor your feelings to feel whatever it is you feel about it, whether it's shame, whether it's guilt. Again, at some point we have to get out of that though, and that's where we're going to get to steps 2, 3, and 4. But the first thing is to acknowledge that you have some pain around it, and maybe you need to seek some help to actually get over that, and that's totally okay. I think far too often we quickly judge ourselves for feeling certain ways where really your feelings are your feelings and you're allowed to feel them. So number 1 is to grieve it. Number 2 then is to actually own it. This is going to feel a little bit like a 12-step program. It's not, it's 4. But the second is to actually own it. It happened. Whatever it was that didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, it happened and it's over. Okay? Because the whole goal with this is to try to elevate our minds so that we are not thinking about what didn't work and looking at what's right in front of us. Okay? So that's what we're going to do with number 3. Number 3, it's always important to think about how we are better because of what happened. Like, what things have come into your life? What experience have you gained? Experiences have you gained? What characteristics, qualities have you developed as a person because of how it went? Because here's the thing, you guys, I don't know if you feel this way. I'm a control freak by nature. Like, so I think that I can orchestrate things. I can, you know, and again, like people like to say manifesting and all that stuff. That's fine and well, but I am not in control, like control with a capital C, right? For me, there is a God that is, again, some people don't resonate with this. I get this, but for me, there's a God that is working and he is in control, right? I don't get to choose every single thing every single day. But if we act like, well, I can't do anything anyway, it's this balance between realizing you're not in control and being a victim, right? We want to not be a victim while recognizing that we don't always know what's best for us. Like, we think we know what's best for us, but sometimes things are going exactly the way that they're supposed to. So the way we can recognize that is to ask ourselves how we're better. How am I better today? because of this situation. So I shared with you that, you know, moving back to my hometown wasn't the plan, right? In that first year, at least, if not longer than that, I'm still, well, I'll say I was never going to be a farmer's wife. That's one I'm still struggling with. I still sometimes I'm like, oh, this is not what I wanted. This isn't how it was supposed to be. Like, this isn't, I'm serious. I get that cranky about it. But when if I stop and I actually ask myself, how am I better because I'm a farmer's wife? I can count the ways. You can, like, literally, you know, number them. And so that's the goal, is to get you out of this feeling really crappy about it and moving into being more productive. And then number 4 is to make a plan. If you don't like where you're at, you do get to change it. And if you didn't get what you wanted, how can you fill that void? Okay, so I have a good friend that always expected to get married. And she's now, well, she'll turn 39. She's a year older, she'll turn 39. And she isn't married yet. And she's been with some people and had some relationships, but they haven't panned out. And, you know, this is one of those things that's really hard. She is not in control of when the right Mr. Right shows up, right? She's not in control of that. I just said right 3 times, right, Mr. Right, the right guy. She is not in control of that. And so that's one of those really difficult things. So for her, it would be asking yourself, in terms of making a plan, it's asking yourself, how can I fill this void with something for myself that I'm in control of and I can actually initiate? Because she can't make Mr. Right show up, but she can certainly put herself in a situation where she might be attracting the right guy. So it could be maybe less bar hopping and more finding peace with herself. Maybe she takes on a new hobby. Maybe she, you know what I'm saying? Like, attend something different, try something new, and does it for herself. So number 4 is all about figuring out how do you fill that void, or how can you bring some of that into your life? What can you do now? Because the quote that I'm going to leave you guys with, this whole thing of letting go of what you felt like you were supposed to get or was supposed to happen for you, we basically have a choice, right? We can either live in the past or we can feed our energy forward, right? Whatever it is, wherever you are, whatever you're thinking about, if it's the worry, if it's the shame, if it's the embarrassment, if it's the disappointment, that it takes a continual flow of your energy. And so we get to choose. Do we feed our energy backwards? Do we think about and spend all this time fretting and thinking about what we didn't get and how it didn't go the way we wanted it to? Or do we look at the moment right in front of us and ask ourselves, how can we move forward? And that's really what number 4 is about. Okay, so again, grieve it, own it, ask yourself how it made you better. In what ways was this not planned, like your plan? It wasn't your plan, but it was the plan. How are you better because of it? And number 4, make a plan to bring more of that forward into your life. Okay, so Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now, he had this quote, accept, then act. So again, that's going back to number 2, accept it, right? Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. And this will miraculously transform your whole life. And I think that's a really cool way to think about it. If you look at every situation and you think, okay, so I chose this, you put on the mindset that you chose it, then there's no way that you can get caught up in feeling like a victim, like life handed you a raw deal, or everything works out for everybody else but you. Those kinds of feelings that can threaten, they can overcome us sometimes when we feel really sad or disappointed by how something went. So friends, I hope that this was helpful for you today. The whole thing is, you can only choose one place to live in. You can either live in the past or you can live in the now. And really, we all know that the only life to live is the one that's right in front of us. The moment is right here in front of us. Okay, so with that, I hope you guys have an amazing week. I will say enrollment for the Big Life Retreat is open currently. If you guys haven't seen anything about this, I'm going to post the link to the page so you can get a bit more information about it, but I highly encourage it. Again, yes, it is a 4-hour virtual retreat. Sounds like it would be horribly painful and long, but I swear to you it's not. We do some really cool activities. You will feel like you are in the room with us, and yet you don't have to leave your home. And it's all about digging deep and helping you figure out how to live bigger and show up in a more meaningful way in your life. And so I would love it if you guys would check that out. Of course, if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. You can email me, text me, call me, whatever. Let me know how I can help you, okay? So you guys have a fantastic day. As always, till I see you again, groove on, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.